And we have a new guest with us now, Stacey. It's great. We pulled you out of the field. Now you're in the studio with us. This is awesome. You're going to be here with us the next 2 hours. Steve Smith Sr.
I'm sitting next to Stacey Dale.
Greatness.
It rubs off on me.
Michael Robinson.
What's up, people? How you doing? Grand Rising.
And Mike Garofalo.
Who said that coming up? That's Stacey's specialty.
It is.
Can't do it without Stacey anymore.
Guys, I was at Arrowhead last weekend. I don't remember it because I was in different conditions than they're at tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, that was rough.
That was a rough one. We got through it, though.
Yeah, well, they were supposed to get a lot of weather this time around, but luckily they escaped, so it shouldn't be bad there at Arrowhead. But we have 3 more games now left in the NFL season. Of course, as we're just talking about now, 2 kicking off tomorrow with the NFC Championship game, 3:05 Eastern, with the Rams and the Saints at the Superdome. And then the AFC title game, Pats-Chiefs at 6:40 Eastern. You don't want to miss those games. But let's get out to New Orleans. Steve Wyche is live with the Rams and Jane Slater with the Saints. So, guys, good morning, first of all. And, Steve, what's the latest? I'm going to start with you and the Rams in L.A.
Well, good morning, Colin and Jane. We saw the games when the Rams beat the Cowboys last week, and they held the Cowboys to 50 yards rushing. And we know the strength of the Rams' defense is their interior. But in a word, or words, the Saints ain't scared. When these teams met in Week 9, of the 29 scheduled runs the Saints ran, 22 of them were between the tackles. That's 76% of the runs. On average, 56% of the Saints runs were between the tackles. So they really feel that they can run at the Rams interior. So I asked Aaron Donald, the defensive tackle for the Rams, about that this week. And he was like, oh, yeah, they got us last time, but there couldn't be a better stage to get redemption. So they've got a very good game plan. Guys are very motivated, and they didn't forget how the Saints really tried to attack their strengths. So they feel challenged, Jane. So we don't know how they're going to react. I'm sure Sean Payton will dial up something different, but the Rams' interior defenders really feel like, okay, this is our time to get some get back.
Well, look, it's no secret that one of their weapons here is Michael Thomas, a guy who, if you think about it, was just 16 years old the last time his quarterback, Drew Brees, won this NFC Championship game. But it was Brees this week who told me that their preparation and their sense of urgency is the same, which is remarkable when you think just 3 years in the league, 25 years old, Michael Thomas. He said that in practice, every rep's a game rep, a Super Bowl rep, a can we win this game rep. And that's what he loves so much about Thomas. And, you know, I tried to track down Thomas and talk to him ahead of this game, and he declined all reporter requests, but then reached out to me later and said, look, it's not personal, but the game is to be sold, not told. When you look at him, he sold the game against the Rams in Week 9.
Yes,
that 72-yard touchdown pass erasing all of the Rams' late-game heroics. And then when you look at him this season, a league-leading 125 catches and just 3 drops. It's why he's earned Brees' trust and why you can expect to see him in the game plan tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah, guys, Michael Thomas, one guy that you definitely don't want to get loose out there on the field, but he always manages to do so anyway. Jane, Steve, thank you. Look, no quarterback has been better at home, though, than Michael Thomas is. That's Drew Brees, the quarterback there, when it comes to passer rating, 129.1. And check out that touchdown-to-interception ratio, 23 to 2.
Crazy.
To 2. On the flip side, Goff has not been as great on the road with nearly as many picks as touchdowns.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that those stats will be indicative of the game tomorrow, but let's talk about Goff and Brees. And Stacey, I'm going to start with you since you're the guest here. What do you expect for the quarterbacks tomorrow?
I expect Drew Brees to be dominant. You know, I just heard Jane talk about, guys, the preparation over the years. I talked to a source this week who's been with the Saints for 2 decades. And I said, what's been different about Drew Brees, who, by the way, is undefeated, 6-0 at home in the playoffs? And, you know, he said, kind of like Jane talked about the preparations there, he's been unflappable even 18 years later. He just turned 40 a few days ago. But there's a different edge in his eyes this year, especially in the playoffs. And when somebody is around a quarterback like Drew Brees and sees that edge, and I was told, quote, I mean, it's there. So I think he's going to be dominant. I expect greatness.
Yeah, well, I mean, you talk about that I guess, twinkle in his eye or that edge,
Twinkle in his eye.
so to speak. I think it's there because he's played this long in this league and only has 1 Super Bowl. And I think he wants to prove a lot of his naysayers wrong. He wants to prove, look, when you talk about elite quarterbacking in this league, you have to include Drew Brees into that conversation. And I think that's what's driving him right now. We talked in the last segment about adversity driving and building character and all of those things. And I think Drew Brees embodies that. And he's one of the only quarterbacks in this league that can beat you completely with his arm. He doesn't need a supplemental part of his game. Unlike Jared Goff, when you talk about the run game, he needs this run game, and it's all embodied in the play-action pass. They run play-action pass more than any other team in the National Football League. Jared Goff's 35% of his pass plays, 35%, over a quarter of the time he drops back, it's faking the ball to the best player on their offense, and Todd Gurley. And I think if they can continue to use Todd Gurley, use this run game, and marry the run game to the passing game, that's what Sean McVay is a master at doing. I think they'll get their way today, tomorrow, and winning that game, because it all starts at the line of scrimmage with the run game.
We say play action. It takes the linebackers out. It forces them to come up. Then they got to come back and all that stuff. It also creates amazing pockets for him. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times you'll fake the play action this way, and the entire defensive line will shift this way. And then he sets up over here, and he's got all that room to work with. They're great about scheming that part of things for him. I went back. We watched the game. We looked at that game back in Week 9. Cooper Kupp went 5 for 89 and a touchdown, I believe.
He's not there anymore.
Yes, he's not there anymore. And our research guy, Bill Sudell, got to pronounce that correctly, the numbers without Cooper Kupp, since he's gone down, everything's down. I mean, I hate to say he's the one reason why.
He's the route technician.
He is. He did a fantastic. And he actually, he's really good blocking.
He's their best blocking receiver.
He's the dirty guy.
And I said it when he came out.
That game against the Saints did a
wide receiver in that draft class that year.
You were down in Mobile that year, weren't you? No? Or just the Combine? That's right.
I was at the Combine, and I watched him, and I watched 2.5 years of film.
He tore it up at the Combine, at the Senior Bowl in Mobile during practices all week long. If you were watching that, you're not surprised by the production. But anyway, without him, you wonder what kind of effect that's going to have maybe on this team, on this game here.
Does it worry anybody at all, though, about the slow start that they had last week?
I think it is a worry, but I think a little bit of worry is what do? They threw the ball on the first play, so it was a pick. So what do you have to do? I believe in this game plan, they have to run the ball for New Orleans Saints and get Sue and Donald tired. Get a rotation going, meaning those guys are gassed there. They need rest because you are working them. And big D linemen, they love to keep it in their wheelhouse, right? Everything up in front of them. When they got to go run and chase down guys and exert more energy, that means they have less energy for the pass game. And why is the pass game so efficient? Is you have to have a big-time run game. How big is the pass game for the New Orleans Saints? This is how big. 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions this year for Drew Brees with play action. The effect of play action. And also, NFL passer rating, 142. 142.
Pretty good.
And when it's not in the pass, the play action, it's only 109. He is that guy, right? But also 21 touchdowns, 5 picks. What does that tell you? That the play action does so many great things, and I'll steal a word from Mike. It transcends everything else around the team. And so, I see it. I do actually pay attention to Mike Robb.
I will say this, though, Colleen, to your question. In the Rams' 3 losses this year, when they don't score in the first half because they were down 18 in Week 9 at the end of the first half, they lose football games because in the first half, when they are down by 18 points, they have a negative 18-point differential in the first half of games that they lose. So they've talked about it. If you listen to Robert Woods this week, they're one of their wide receivers, we got to come out and we got to start fast on the road. And it's going to be huge. How they start this game will be critical as to their success, I think, if you look back over the season.
Yeah, and Drew Brees also in this game has to deal with having Aqib Talib on the other side, who wasn't there in the first meeting this year. The Rams allowed 2 fewer touchdowns with Aqib on the field.
And Marcus Peters wants gumbo, so.
Right, so that's a whole thing.
Well, you don't show up, you're going to have a lot of opportunity to have some gumbo.
Yeah, drink, everybody drink if you're playing the coffee drinking game for gumbo. It's time for names and numbers now, everybody. So there's a ton of superstars playing this weekend, so we're going to tell you who will have the bigger numbers, which names will. And Stacey, I'm going to start with you. More passing yards, Jared Goff or Drew Brees?
Drew Brees for me. I said my piece a few minutes ago, but since 1970, guys, nobody has more passing yards per game in the playoffs than Drew Brees, 322. I expect him to have greatness.
Okay, Steve.
70.
How about scrimmage yards here? Todd Gurley or Alvin Kamara?
Well, I just believe that the New Orleans Saints understand that they have to get after Todd Gurley. They cannot allow this engine to go to fuel this luxury vehicle that the Los Angeles Rams are. So I believe Alvin Kamara will have more scrimmage yards.
Going with Kamara. Okay, how about this? Jeezy, more passing touchdowns here, Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes?
Nah.